And that breaking news, Milwaukee police arrest 3 people for stealing a Stradivarius violin that's worth more than $5 million. Unfortunately, though, the violin is still missing.
Chief Ed Flynn just wrapped up a news conference announcing the arrests.
Cody Holyoke begins our team coverage on this breaking news. Cody.
Mike, Carol, good afternoon. Yeah, as you just said, Chief Ed Flynn, along with members of the FBI, just wrapped up a press conference a little while ago confirming what we've been hearing this afternoon, that 3 people are now in custody in the connection with the disappearance of this multi-million-dollar violin. Now, the police said, Chief Ed Flynn said that a 36-year-old man was arrested, along with a 41-year-old man and a 32-year-old woman. We asked the chief for more information. He wouldn't give us much, though, saying that one of these suspects, he did tell us this, has been known to them for similar types of thefts in the past, but he did not elaborate. As you mentioned before, this multi-million-dollar priceless violin doesn't have much street value. It would only go to a collector, and right now it's missing. Here's Police Chief Ed Flynn on what's next for the investigation.
We're going to continue our interviews of the suspects. Clearly, we want to indicate that it's perhaps in their best interests to recognize that, A, this is not something that can easily be disposed of at some future date. It'll never be valuable for a thief. It's only valuable for a collector, and it's only valuable to a collector if it can be played, and it can't be played if it's known to be stolen. So, you know, one thing is very clear that we've learned from our friends at the FBI as well as from the art world. This thing is extremely valuable to a very small number of people who's having it requires it to be in the public eye. So there's not a market for it. It's not a good trophy. It's not going to gain value for them. And so the challenge is, can we get somebody who was smart enough to figure out this crime to be smart enough to give up where it is?
And we'll see about that. And the Milwaukee Police Department is still keeping their tip line open. That number, 935-7360, trying to get whatever information they can. They are also looking for the getaway van that was used after these suspects tasered, basically, Frank Allman, the concertmaster of the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. So there's a lot going on here. As for the whereabouts of the violin, Chief and the FBI didn't want to speculate when I asked whether or not they believe it's still in Milwaukee. However, they did say that at least for now, they have high hopes that it is still within the city. Live in downtown Milwaukee, Cody Holyoke, today's TMJ4.
We can only hope that's the case. Thanks, Cody.
Let's find out a little bit more about the suspects.
The aunt of one of the suspects tells police and the FBI that they raided her home looking for the violin.
Todd Hicks is live outside the police administration building with more exclusive details. Todd?
Well, Mike and Carol, Salah Jones' aunt showed me what her house looked like after police turned it upside down looking for that rare instrument. Tonight, she's standing by her nephew, claiming he is innocent.
And they busted my door in, and they had like 6 or 7 cops in here.
Police and the FBI swarmed the home of Salah Jones' aunt Monday. Jones is one of 3 people suspected of stealing this Stradivarius violin. When they busted in, they searched your home from top to bottom. Where did they look?
They looked everywhere, and they wouldn't let me in the house. I had to sit out in the car because they said that they had this search warrant.
Jones' aunt didn't want us to show her face on TV, but she said Salah hasn't lived here for years. Despite her pleas, detectives looked through every corner of the house. In the end, they left empty-handed.
My nephew never took that. I don't know nothing about that. Our family don't know nothing about that.
And police came prepared in their search for that rare violin. Coming up at 6, exclusive details of why they believed it may have been at that home. We're live at the Police Administration Building tonight. Todd Hicks, today's TMJ4.
Okay, Todd, thank you very much.
And worth noting that a $100,000 award is still being offered for the safe return of the violin. Here's a couple of numbers where people can call MPD 935-7360 or the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, their number 226-7838.
And the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra just released this statement saying, "It is our sincerest hope that the stolen Stradivarius is ultimately found so it may be enjoyed by the Milwaukee community for generations to come." Now, the 41-year-old man arrested committed a similar crime 19 years ago. He was convicted of stealing a statue called Woman with Fruit from the Michael Lord Gallery. He returned with the statue 4 years after the theft, claiming he found it and tried to actually sell it back.